Welcome to the Bookkeepers Podcast.
Sponsored by Xero.
Oh, this is nice, isn't it?
It's very posh.
I know. Who do we think we are?
I know. How dare we? So used to sitting in my garage and you in your downstairs
in my
room.
office. Why do you call it my downstairs room? It sounds like it's like the downstairs bathroom.
Isn't it a converted garage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My downstairs room.
With your Barbie dream house in there.
It has got a Barbie dream house, yeah. I
and
get
your
that sometimes.
treadmill and your snowboard.
It's basically just a room full of my junk.
It does sound like a garage.
Well, we decided we better up level and have an actual studio, which feels like a massive shift because we've spent 5 years recording 300 episodes of the podcast, and pretty much all the time there's been a guest.
Always been a guest and always been from home. And we really wanted to upgrade, and we want to do better for our audience quality wise, but we've really struggled to think, is this the right thing? Is that what our actual community want?
Yeah. Will they see us differently if we don't do, is it because we have spent so long talking about how we're not the gurus, we're the guides, which we really believe. Mm-hmm. And then we've recorded 300 episodes where we have been guiding and sharing and bringing, putting other people in front of our bookkeeping community. And now we're well, we do know some things too. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it for me has been location, meeting our community where they're at. So when we're sitting at home recording a podcast, it makes them believe that could be the same for them. But does it mean that we should never up level and invest in ourselves? And actually, I think with the amount of episodes we've done, I think we've proved that we are where they're at, but also allowing them to know that they can invest in themselves and take the next step.
Yeah. I wonder why we feel like we aren't allowed. It's a bit like when you go to an event or a party, or you start hanging around in circles and then you see people who seem to be succeeding and you don't feel like you belong there. Or
that's literally been my life as a bookkeeper, and hence why we started the Six Figure Bookkeepers Club, because bookkeepers do not feel at this as worthy as accountants. That's how I felt anyway. So maybe it's this kind of permission piece coming back up again. And is that a female trait as well? A woman in business, a mother in business. I don't know what it is, but we're going to push through our comfort zone, invest in ourselves, up level, and bring you all on the journey with us.
Yeah. It's like overcoming. I used to feel intimidated, even though I had a business, I didn't feel like I was worthy of speaking to people. They were so much better than me.
It's not the same as other people's business. Mine's just little business.
My business. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's it, isn't it? You feel like we're entering a new world with things like the podcast or whatever you're up leveling. We feel like, we're going into this new world, and are we actually allowed to do that?
Who's going to give you permission? We hear this so much in our community where people don't have a qualification in having a conversation with their client about something. So they're I haven't been given permission to do that. Can I do a cash flow forecast? Can I ask them questions about what they want to do in the future of their business? Am I allowed? So I think we need to keep talking and giving people permission. And if you don't get that permission from someone else, you can borrow ours, but otherwise, if you don't do it, no one else is going to do it for you. So you're going to stay stuck, and so will your clients.
Yeah. But often when you are up leveling, they're like with the new setup for the podcast, we know it's important. We know that our audience are used to, in 2020, when we started the podcast, they would be mainly tuning in to listen to the audio version, partly because we didn't release any videos.
Yeah. Also, we weren't allowed to leave the house.
Also that. Yeah. Yeah. And our hair was bad.
Yeah.
Our hair has been all hair.
Yeah.
All styles. But we decided that we needed to do more sort of video stuff. But all of those next levels usually come with a price. Up leveling seems to be attached to investment or cost. And that's about how you see it, right? But it also comes with a a sort of really difficult KPI to try and measure. And I think we're always trying to work out what's the return on investment of doing this. And you, with something like this, which is about sort of investing in yourself, personal branding, and anything that we might be saying to our bookkeepers in the community, you know, you need to invest in yourself. You do have permission. You're allowed to sit at the table, be your best self, all of those things. When you've got to spend money to be able to do that, and then you're not sure that you're going to actually see the return, it's not an easy, rational decision to make.
No. And the other thing for us, like if we're blatantly honest, when you've done 300 episodes in the same way, like we are not known for sitting still and like following complete systems and doing things. Like we are visionaries and creatives and to rinse and repeat. Sometimes we've been a bit like, oh, I feel a bit low energy, and it's okay to change something up and change the energy, because we know if our energy shifts, then the listener's energy will shift. And now no one's ever said to us, we hear all the time, we will go to events and people will stop us and say, I've listened to every one of your episodes of the podcast. And I'm like, really? Are you mad?
Why?
we don't have that belief, but we know that it's valuable, and it's not that we want to stop, but we know that there's the conversation Zoe and I have when we're in our hotel rooms, when we're traveling, when we're on planes and trains and in the car, is very different. And we've said a few times, oh my goodness, our listeners would love to hear us talk like this and be so candid and open and vulnerable.
Yeah.
So we were like, well, how do we get that across in the podcast? And that is by sitting next to each other.
Yeah, have the proper chat. I think it took me a while to sort of feel like we could have that kind of relationship where we just talk about anything and everything.
Well, we were strangers.
Yeah.
So, and then you go into a business relationship. So you act, I suppose we treat each other how we would a client in a lot of ways, with that respect. And God, how many times do we always think the other one's better than the other one? Like we're constantly like, oh my God, you're so good at that. I'm so rubbish at that. You're better at this than me. And which is what I've always done with clients as well.
Yeah.
But it's our relationship evolves and keeps evolving as well. And that's allowed to happen. And we have had more, the more we get to know each other, like any friendship, you become more open, and we've mostly seen more of each other's true colours. We know we know also what banter we can get away with, like without upsetting someone. When you first meet somebody and don't know them that well, I definitely wouldn't have said things to you like I say now.
Or just like said something in a room full of people and be like, oh yeah, sorry Zoe, you didn't want me to tell anyone.
Yeah. And just forget it. And that comes with time. And so I suppose this setup wouldn't have worked at the beginning, because we wouldn't have had this level of understanding of each other.
Oh, that is interesting. So there's like this kind of growth thing that people go through, and then you reach a level where that growth means you have permission to achieve, it's like a new level of Mario or something.
Okay.
Like you've defeated
like you've
the
ever
guy.
played Mario. Have you?
On a SNES.
You're so old. Okay, so and it's actually something you said to me this week about LinkedIn for you. You know, you're growing a really big following on LinkedIn, and you've gamified that. And it's about giving ourselves permission to have fun in business. Like we're finding this more fun than when we're sitting looking at screens.
Yeah.
But also have permission to laugh, to smile, to be more unapologetically you. And that all feels like, do we think we feel so lucky that makes us feel a little bit guilty as well? Like who are we to have this experience?
It's like the only way I could gamify LinkedIn is to give myself permission to be in the game.
Oh.
So you have to say I'm allowed to be here.
Yeah. And that's really interesting, because for a very long time, it wasn't easy to get in the game. Like to become a great player, you have to train lots, and you did a lot of that. You've put in a lot of the groundwork and done a lot of the stuff behind the scenes that most people aren't willing to do.
But that's the same with any business, isn't it? Like I think we were saying this week as well that there are rooms in business where we've been in rooms with other business owners, and you said there was a great example, and someone went around the table and they're like, you could work with me, and they just skipped you.
They did skip me.
because and that's like someone else saying I have decided you're not big enough, and then these are the things that where you then say, well, I won't give myself permission because they're not even giving me permission.
I mean, it's just blatantly rude as well.
Oh, it was totally rude. Totally rude.
But then I think I've got to a place as well, and I'm like, why did you want me to know that?
Yeah.
And then I reverse engineer it.
But we do it for ourselves. We do it to ourselves. We look around the room and we're like, oh yeah, they're good. Me, oh no, not me though.
Yeah.
And then it's all like comparisonitis, and we don't allow ourselves to move on to the next level because we're trying to achieve that Super Mario level.
Yeah, and what we said there about the training, about being in the game, I think we've watched other podcasts and we've watched other people have things edited and we've thought it's not for us.
Yeah.
And who do we think? But actually we have put in those hours. We've done 300 episodes. We're sponsored by Xero. We have lots of listeners, and actually a lot of our listeners are on YouTube now as well, and they like to watch the video. So why wouldn't we want to make that a better experience for us and for them? Yeah,
we were talking about the audiobook, weren't we? And how when we wrote The Bookkeeper Rises, we wrote this book a couple of years ago. We knew it was a really important marketing piece. That's one of the things you do as a business owner to, drive traffic and all of those kind of things. And then someone said to you, I don't know if it started with, are you making an audiobook? It was just much about...
No, it was more like, oh, how do you consume books? And I said, oh, I listen to them. And then it just was like the penny dropped. And I was like, oh, we've not done an audiobook.
But we didn't think it was a thing. I didn't even know it was a thing you could like self-publish an audiobook.
I thought it was just Stephen Fry that did.
Yeah. I thought you had to be like a celebrity or a published author with Penguin or something. And they did some special thing where you got to have an audiobook.
Yeah. And then we thought about how do we do that and how do we do it cheaply?
Yeah.
And we was thinking, like, we'd heard some people that we know have recorded audiobooks in their garages with egg boxes around, edit it on GarageBand. And we looked at each other like, this sounds horrific. Like, no, thank you. So then we looked into how much it would cost to go to a studio with somebody that actually records audiobooks for Penguin authors.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as much as we thought. And we thought, oh, okay, that's what. And now that asset is out there, and we get a small residual income every month from that. But it wasn't really the point. It means that we've actually done what we would want. If someone we were watching was going to do it. But me and you, I struggle to read.
Yeah.
I struggle to read. I like to listen.
Yeah.
So why were we not able to do that?
No.
It took us a while.
I think it's like when something like that, I remember when we got the quote from the guy who did it, I just assumed it was going to be out of our price range. I didn't even know what our price range was though. That's the crazy thing. I think that's the thing with most of this
just
stuff.
Assume it's too
not
high.
For you.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter what it is. We won't be allowed or able to do that for some reason.
But we was. Actually, the funny thing that happened in that is after he listened to our audiobook and he had to edit it, he really upped his prices because that's how we help business owners.
We told him to put his prices up, didn't we? He gave us a quote and we're like, we'll pay it, but you have to put prices up.
Yeah. And he did.
He hired someone in his team as well.
Yeah, he listened to everything. He actually implemented what we said. So that was really good fun.
That was cool, wasn't it? So how are we going to get our community involved in the podcast? Because we really value everyone's input and we want to...
Absolutely.
I want to hear from everyone, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where we might not have as many guests, but it doesn't mean that our community will not be included. We really want them included. We want to be like your bookkeeping business agony aunts. We want you to write in.
You've got this thing about being an agony aunt.
Yeah.
We were watching... this isn't our normal choice for TV. Like...
Right.
We usually watch like a quiz because I'm obsessed.
Because you like quizzes.
I like quizzes.
Chills you out.
Chills me out. But we were watching, we were working in the hotel the other day, weren't we? And we put on like This Morning or one of those ITV things, and there was a phone in, and there was like an agony aunt, and
Deirdre.
She was called Deirdre.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my goodness, is there still people called Deirdre these days?
I just thought you thought... like I can't believe there's still like some lady like
agony aunt still. Yeah. But I love it. And we get asked so many questions all the time, and we want to help people. We want them to move to the next level and answer their questions.
And I want to give permission to Jo to be an agony aunt.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is actually what we're doing. We just don't call it that. We call it coaching.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. And yeah, we know that in our community, we have so many funny stories as well. I want to hear all the funny stories that happen with clients, that happen when you go to events, things like that. We want to really like open up and show what it's really like to be a bookkeeper in this day and age. The highs, the lows, the struggles, the
questions,
wins,
the
everything.
Problems, because there's someone else going through something like you at the moment, you know. And I think when we talk about the strange client experiences we've had, or, you know, what happened for you when you tried to up level, did it work out? Did something funny happen? Did it create an opportunity? That just empowers people or just lightens the day a little bit.
Absolutely. And I think we can all come away feeling like, oh, it's not just me.
Yeah. So if you've got a problem or a question or something to share, drop us an email, hello@sixfigurebookkeeper.com. Put the word podcast in the subject line. That helps us to actually find that email from you, as you know, inboxes. Yeah, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, can't wait.
Thanks for listening. See you next time.